Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please like, share this video and subscribe this channel.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your appearance and for your service. General Donovan, I want to turn to the question of Cuba. I understand that you may not be actively rehearsing an invasion of Cuba, but surely we have plans to deal with any contingency related to Cuba. I mean, there's a vast cadre, thousands of majors and colonels just sitting around the Pentagon making plans for every possible contingency in the world. It'd be a mass unemployment event if we didn't have plans for every potential crisis around the world. So I want to ask specifically about one potential crisis, given the state of play in Cuba, which has never been able to stand on its own 2 feet. It relied for 30 years on support from Soviet Russia, and then it was wobbly in the 1990s until Chavez's Venezuela came to the rescue and supported it for the last 30 years. Are we prepared for any kind of humanitarian crisis in Cuba, the possible flow of refugees or other civil disorder that may threaten our interests, especially if the decrepit, corrupt Castro regime finally falls or flees?
Senator, yes, we are. SOUTHCOM, our core task, we have an execute order to be prepared to support DHS in a mass migration event. They would take the lead. We would follow either at sea or primarily ashore or Guantanamo Bay, where we would set up a camp to deal with those migrants or any overflow from any situation in Cuba itself. Otherwise, my other core task is protect the embassy, which we are in contact with the embassy every single day. We had the CDA, the Charge d'Affaires Hammer, in my office about a week ago, and we talked about what he thought was going to happen in Cuba. And so we're very much aligned with the diplomats there. That's my responsibility. And in Cuba, the responsibility I have is protecting the base and those families and U.S. Americans living on the eastern part of the island. So all those together, we're constantly watching. If asked to support a humanitarian event, that's what we do actually very well also. We are very strong in logistics, and we could move support and supplies if asked to do so.
Okay, thank you. You've been on the job now for a little over a month. What's been your assessment of the state of our infrastructure in Latin America, especially in the Caribbean? Does it need additional support, given the fact that SOUTHCOM is now a much more active combatant command than it has been in the past?
Senator, in the last 43 days, I learned a lot about the budget at SOUTHCOM, and I've looked at the bases and stations that we've had in the past, like Guantanamo Bay, and other locations that we're coming back to, like in Puerto Rico, then areas like Soto Cana, where we have a great relationship with the Hondurans. All in different degrees need a refresh. I'd like to pause for a minute on Guantanamo Bay. I think that is one of the more key locations we have, and it is, I won't pull any punches, it's in rough shape. Because of a hurricane damage, we're down to one working pier and one refueling pier. I believe that is a pivotal point for any operations in the Caribbean is Gitmo. And so right now we're working for opportunities and the funding and the resources. Is it MILCON? Is it other contingency funds to really figure out how to go to those key locations, and they become both not just logistics hubs but maneuver hubs as we look at going on a consistent counter-cartel campaign and or better partners and use those hubs of partnership, like we mentioned before, how to export some of the good things we're doing in Panama.
Okay, and I trust that your budget request will reflect the needs for those infrastructure upgrades, especially at Guantanamo Bay.
Yes, Senator, and how our budget's structured right now, executive agent is the United States Army, so we're working with the United States Army on looking at that budget structure, and then how do we actually have a budget built over time with the right amount of O&M to actually make improvements and sustain those, not just 1 year shots in the arm, but a sustained budget approach that will actually let us campaign from very effective forward locations.
Thank you. I think your appointment reflects in part that Southern Command is a combatant command, not a training command, and certainly not a diplomatic command, and I think the budget needs to reflect that as well. General Guillo, as the commander of NORAD, one of your central missions is the defense of American and Canadian airspace. That depends on a robust fighter force, but today's Air Force fleet is the smallest and the oldest it's ever been. The Air Force also struggles with low readiness rates for its fighters. Do you believe that NORTHCOM and NORAD would benefit from an expanded fighter force?
Yes, Senator, we would. I would like to see continued modernization of fourth-generation fighter fleet. Frankly, sir, we don't need 5th Gen to defend our borders. Those capabilities are better used overseas where their stealth, air-to-ground weapons, and penetration capability are needed.
Thanks for watching this video.